Hi guys, welcome to my second live. My name is Laura and I'm the Specky Seamstress, and my camera angle is really weird. That's no different, but it's what we're going to roll with. There are things that I have learnt since the last time I went live. One is to make sure your phone is charging. So I have a cable attached to my phone now, which is very helpful because last time my phone got very hot and very low on battery, so it means I don't have to worry about that. Two, bring a drink because I brought tea last time but I didn't drink any of it, and I think having a soft drink is probably better. Three, take some notes. No chance to edit this. Four, surround yourself in some of the things you want to talk about because it's much easier than having to dash off and find them. So I have learned a few things. I am just going to sort out my camera angle a tiny bit, if I can. Oh, that's the wrong way. There you go. That feels a bit better. I mean, you can see some stuff hanging out of one of my Calax units here, but that's fine. Hi, I see some people have joined. So, hello, welcome. Hopefully you are there and I can see your comments still. Say hello if you're there. No, silence. I don't think I had to do anything to see the comments last time, so I'm just going to wait and see if anyone says anything and go from there. I am wearing a beautiful new shirt, which I'm going to be talking about. Ah, hello, people are here. Excellent. That's good. I'm wearing this excellent new shirt that I have just made, which I will be talking about a little bit more in a vlog probably next week, maybe the week after, because I want to make a few more and tell you about all of them, because we all know that I don't just make one, I make lots. I've actually got two half finished ones already and two more planned at the very least, including a long sleeve shirt. But this is the Dirando Melilo shirt, which is beautiful in a lovely cotton lawn, which is from a new company called Wattle and Slate, and you can find out a bit more about it on my Instagram day this week, which is mad. I filmed my first video on the 14th of April last year, 2019, the day I got home from New Zealand. So I'd been in Australia and New Zealand for 3 weeks with my husband, and I got home, I slept for 2 hours, and I got up and decided the best way to deal with jet lag was to film a video showing you the fabric I'd bought and start a YouTube channel. And it went live officially on the 15th of April. So yeah, it's been my YouTube birthday, which is really exciting. And it came around quite quick. Like at the beginning of the year, I was thinking, oh, I should do something nice for my YouTube birthday, because I thought that would be like a nice thing to do. But what with everything that's been going on and moving jobs, and it's just really crept up on me, and I sort of suddenly went, oh, I'm it's a year old now. And I haven't done anything, but that's fine. I thought that a live would be a really nice way of just chatting to you guys and saying hello to everyone that's been following me and subscribing and watching and commenting and joining in this kind of conversation. And I thought that the 1 year sewn topic was quite a nice one. If you are on Instagram, you'll know Vicky from Sustainability and Joy from Pink Coat Club have been talking about 1 year sewn, which is a reflection on the garments that they made a year ago. I'm really looking at what garments have stood the test of time and kind of using that to help you plan and think about what you want to make, thinking about what you can do to the garments. Oh, thank you guys. There's some really lovely comments coming up, which is making me happy. That yeah, like how you plan what you might make so that you have a kind of enduring wardrobe. And I loved this idea, but then I went to my wardrobe and looked at the garments that I'd made a year ago, and a year ago I was really still quite a beginner sewist, and I don't know what made me set up a YouTube channel. Really, it was a bit of a questionable decision, but it seems to have worked out, so we'll roll with it. But I was still quite a beginner sewist and would last well, and as such, not many of the garments that I made a year ago I still wear. And then it got me thinking, because I love this idea of reflecting on making a garment and it being, it lasting, and like cherishing those makes that you made a year ago that you might have kind of lost in your wardrobe a little bit because you've been excited by your new colourful shiny makes. I should have worn an old make for this video, shouldn't I? But never mind. I'm not quite that far ahead of things. But yeah, it was a little bit disheartening in a way, because I thought I feel like I don't have that in my wardrobe, and I don't have those makes I can go back to and think, oh, I made this a year ago, let me kind of revive it and revitalise it in my wardrobe a little bit. So I've been mulling over this idea of like really wanting to take a part in this theme and not really knowing how to. And oh, hello Melissa, I'm pleased you were able to join. I'm pleased you found it. And I think that I got reflecting a little bit when I realised that I'd made a lot of things, or updated a lot of things in my wardrobe for like milestone makes. So about a year ago, I'd like just made my first lined jacket, and I'd made my first pair of trousers, and I'd made a pair of dungarees. And I think I've done that like just now, right? I've been making, and actually I made my first attempt at a shirt, and I have been updating that. I've just made my coat, I've made this shirt, and there will be several more. I've made lots of dungarees and jeans, and it kind of got me thinking about kind of my year. And then coming up to the YouTube birthday as well made me think a little bit more about it as well. So I have made a couple of notes, but not a lot. Just thinking about what I sort of see as my reflections on a year for 1 year sewn, which is slightly different from someone who had been sewing a long time to someone who'd been sewing not that long a year ago. And what I will do as part of this, I think I will film that I don't wear anymore for a number of reasons. Not only that they might not be very well finished, in which case I could finish them, I could unpick some seams, I could actually finish some seams on the inside, but also because they're not they don't fit me very well, because that's something I've certainly improved upon in the last year. And I think it's also for me about taking the positives in what I did learn last year. Like it's not about going to that wardrobe and saying, oh, well, I can't wear anything anymore that I made a year ago, or I don't want to wear anything that I made a year ago. That's a bit rubbish. But actually saying, well, do you know what? I was learning. I'm still learning. We're all still learning. But I was very much on a upwards steep learning curve at the time. And all of those garments helped me learn. All of those garments were really, really important in helping me to sew things now that hopefully in a year's time will still be in my wardrobe. I mean, if this shirt isn't in my wardrobe in a year's time, I'm going to be sad because it's great. But yeah, I just think it is about taking those positives that actually I am, like, I've learned a lot from those things, and I'm at a place now where I can really think about what is going to be enduring in my wardrobe when I'm making things now. That's quite philosophical for a Thursday evening. I think it's Thursday. But I also think that it's important to be honest. I have been guilty of this before I was sewing as well as now. It's something that hasn't changed. My notes are in a list of like things that have changed in a year and things that are the same. And this is one that's definitely the same, is that I've not been very good at being honest about whether I'm going to wear clothes again or not. And in the past, that might have been because they didn't fit me anymore, and I was convinced, oh no, they'll fit again one day, or that they're just something that I liked but never felt comfortable in. And often I think, like, looking back at my wardrobe now, I didn't feel comfortable in them because they didn't fit me very well. So they might have been a really beautiful fabric or really lovely design, but they didn't fit very well, and therefore didn't get worn very much because I didn't feel comfortable in them. And I think I need to be honest with myself. I got quite good at that in my ready to wear wardrobe. Now there is a lot of I have at least one Kallax box full of clothes that I like the fabric of, but not the garment anymore, and need to sort. Maybe that's a YouTube channel series in the making. But I don't think I'm very good at that with my me maids at the minute. I think that I want to keep all of my me maids because I made them and I took time to make them. But actually, maybe now it is a good time to reflect on, you know, how I've grown in my sewing and my style a lot in the last year, and maybe it's time to move some of those things on, whether that's through, quite frankly, just like fabric banks or scraps, because a lot of my early makes were from duvet covers, or whether it's through rescuing the fabric and making something new with them, or passing them on. So I have a lot of reflection still to do. But I thought that maybe coming on here and having a chat. I mean, what do you guys do with your old me maids, or have you heard about the 1 year sewn idea and concept? And what do you think? Like, what's your most cherished make from a year ago? I still wear a grey jumper. It's just a Frankie tee, a Tilly and the Buttons Frankie tee, in a grey clock. I always say that wrong, and I always end up saying it in vlogs, and I'm like, oh, I can't say that. Jersey, like a raised kind of embossed jersey that has stars on it, and it's grey, and it's just a really lovely, like, basic, and I still wear that quite a lot. And I remember being super proud of it because I got the neckline really smooth on it. There were no puckers. I think I actually, like, put it up on Instagram and put up, like, hashtag no tucks no puckers or something like that, or no tucks no gathers or something, because the neckline went in really well and I was really proud of it. And I do still wear that, but again, that isn't finished. I mean, I didn't use my overlock a year ago, so it was it was the same overlocker that I've got, and it was sat on the windowsill. In fact, my second ever vlog, which is actually the first vlog that's still live on YouTube if you scroll back, was a sewing room tour. And I talked about how scared I was of my overlocker, and that would have been Tilly and the Buttons Joni dress, which I did take the effort to redo a little bit. So I fixed some of the inside, and I think I'd like to do again, because that's that's like a nice one that I do still wear all the time, and that still kind of really suits my style. Laura, that's really good. Like, basics. I think basics maybe is what you tend to gravitate to from your, like, older makes, maybe, because they go with a lot of things still. Because I think some of this, I mean, I say that, my dinosaur Joni is pretty statement, but I think some of the more statement makes perhaps fall by the wayside a little bit as you're more pernickety or something with fit. I don't really know. Melissa, use your overlocker. Seriously, there's so many good resources out there, and I think, aren't at the moment the Stitch Sisters class is half price or something, and they do a get to know your overlocker course that you can buy and then you can have access to all the time, and you can just go back and look at it. Yeah, it took me ages, and it doesn't help that this one is not like an easy, friendly, it looks like all of the ones in the nice YouTube videos that you can look at how to use them. This required me, my husband, and Yvonne, who I don't know if she's on this live, but who's getting a stitch on Instagram. We had like a good solid, I felt really bad. She came to my house and we were supposed to sew, and we spent like 2 hours trying to get this right. But yeah, and yeah, you don't need one, but some of my garments are not finished very well, and my garment finishing has improved, I think, since I've started using my overlocker. Anyway, that's a little bit about being honest, I think. And yeah, there are a few other things that I wear, but I don't wear many of my, like, fitted dresses, flared skirts, because I'm not very happy with the way the skirts are attached, which could be a really easy fix. Like, yeah, I might need to rip out the zip and rip out the waist seam and redo it, but I might get some really beautiful things back in my wardrobe for doing that. So I don't know, would you be interested in seeing some of my older makes and like seeing me kind of refashion them? I know that Adele from Button and Pip did that a little while ago. She went through some stuff. Oh, your comments keep coming up and then disappearing, so I can't read them quick enough. I don't know if I click this button, all messages are visible. Oh no, that's not what I meant. All messages are visible. There you go. Now I can see things and I can scroll. Although it does mean you just get to see my finger, which is probably not the best thing. Well done, Mel. You should do it. It's like revolutionary for jersey overlockers. Yes, you can finish wovens in lots of other ways, but I just think it makes your garments on jersey feel so much more professional. Here you go. I can do it so that you don't see my things. You passed on a pair of gold. Yeah. Oh, I love my dungarees. And Laura, yeah, your black dungarees are amazing. If you're talking about your Jenny overalls, they're amazing. You should definitely. But yeah. Anyway, so I thought I'd talk about a few things that are the same and that I've changed. But I also thought I would show you some of the fabrics that I bought in Australia and New Zealand that I still haven't used. They're only a year old in my stash. That's totally fine, baby. Because I have actually used most of the fabrics that I bought in Australia and New Zealand. I didn't buy like loads and loads or anything. No. I talked for a long time though. I think my first vlog was half an hour and I think I only had like seven or eight fabrics to show. It was quite a long it was a long haul. But I thought I'd show you three fabrics because I actually think I've got plans for all of them now, which is kind of exciting. So I have this, which is a Jocelyn Proust fabric for Spotlight, which I bought in New Zealand. And yeah, it's got parrots on it. Do I need to say much more? I bought this with the idea of making shorts. It's a canvas fabric and it's really wide, and I only bought a metre, but I think it's quite a big metre, I think. Meaning it's more than a metre for, those of us that speak the language properly. And it's really wide, and I think I'm going to be able to Tetris dungarees out of this, and I just think it will be amazing. But even if not, a pair of shorts will be really cool, and it's definitely my colour scheme. So I'm quite excited by that. Particularly excited that I bought it for that purpose, and I think I am a and not sewing them. I'm wanting to make sure that I had the right make for it, and that's really valid to a certain degree. I know that when I wanted to get the fit right on a pair of trousers or shorts particularly, but I shouldn't put it off for ages. You can unpick things, you can redo it, you can generally get more fabric. I am literally surrounded by mountains of it. So I do think I need to be a little bit braver with some things, and I am being a bit braver. So I cut out my really special elephant fabric from Textile Express, which, to be fair, hasn't been in my stash for very long at all, but was in danger of going into that kind of precious space in my stash. Which I'll also be talking more about. So I popped up a little picture of that dress on my community page, which some of you will have seen if you're joining here, because that's where I put it up. And yeah, it's just beautiful. I love it. I mean, it's a Misty cami, of course I'm gonna love it. And then I have two beautiful cottons to show you. One is a calf facet cotton, which is like fairground tents, which I think I might turn into this shirt if I have enough. I bought this from a shop that was closing down, and I just bought the end of the bolt. Everything was 10 New Zealand dollars a yard, but I've got a good 1.5 meters there, so it's quite narrow fabric, but I think I'll be alright, because that'll be quite a cool little shirt, I think. And it's teal. I'm gonna love a bit of teal. I'm also got a teal bra on today. Well, I say today. I literally just finished making this about 20 minutes ago. But yeah, I really like this, and I'm either gonna make. No, I don't have enough for that dress, so I think I'll make this little thing. Was that someone just asking me what pattern the elephant dress was? Yeah, it's a hacked pattern. It's a Misty Cami by Salted Style that has but waist darts. So the Misty Cami is quite like loose and flowing. You can just add whatever skirt you want to it, and I've made it so that it's loose enough still to go on over my head, looser at the back than it is at the front, and then I've added waist ties so that I can cinch it in, and it's just, I really love it. So I've made 2 already, and I made them like within a day of each other, and I have several more planned. Like, yeah, they're great because they are really lovely for summer, but I think with a cardigan or a little denim shirt tied up over it, or anything really, even like a jumper over the top, a crop jumper or something, I think it will be really good in winter with tights. And yeah, I'm quite excited by that. But there will be a vlog talking about that coming up soon. I've got so many vlogs planned. It's just finding the right time to film, and knowing when to film, because I filmed a few vlogs in the past where I've made one of something when I know I've wanted to make more, and then when I've watched the vlog back after a couple of weeks, I thought, oh, I've made more of those now and I've got more things to say. But I don't know, so sometimes I am and are about when to film and when to talk about certain makes, so you have to bear with me a little bit, but it will be coming up soon. And then this was the other fabric. It's all teal. I don't solely buy teal fabric, but I do like teal. This is the like abalone shell design and it's a fabric from New Zealand, and like printed in New Zealand, maybe designed in New Zealand. I don't know, it doesn't say, but it's beautiful, and I bought it planning on making the honeycomb dress, which I got from the In a Haystack pack, the very first one. Well, I planned on making a top version of it because I have 1.3 meters, I think, of this, which was again the end of the bolt. But I didn't like the top version on me very much, so I don't want to do that. But again, it might become one of these shirts. I'm so bad, aren't I? Because the moment I make one of something and like it, I want all of my fabric to become it. But this is a bit heavier weight, so I don't know if it will be. Although it's just a shirt. This will be a very, very Laura make, won't it? Like, this is a very Laura fabric. I saw a couple of comments saying that you were interested in seeing some of my older makes and me refashioning them, so I'll log that and think about how I'm going to do that. Where have I put my drink? I was saying when I started, I think before anyone had joined, that I remembered to actually bring a cold drink this time because it's quite a lot of talking. Also, I'm going to get really hungry during this, I think. I had a little snack before I started, and me and Nick are going to go to the fish and chip van later, which I'm very excited about, to get some dinner. So also on the timing of this, I am trying to like judge when the best time is. Like, now this time of day is fine right now when it's still light, but it's not going to be fine for all of the year. And lunchtime works quite well if I'm not at work. So I'm not at work on Monday, and I'm thinking about whether to film a vlog or to put up a live. Like, I could go through my wardrobe on Monday in a live at lunchtime and yeah, talk through my makes and stuff as I find them, and then put up a vlog a bit later when I've altered some stuff and refashioned and etc etc. Maybe I'll do that. I don't know. But anyway, back to 1 year sewn and talking about kind of like reflections on the year. I think that a lot has changed in a year. I think my style has changed a lot, but I don't actually think my style has changed a lot. I think my confidence in my own style has grown a lot, and I think that now I can make things that fit me, which is another change, definitely, because I definitely wasn't that good at fit before. I think I'm much more confident in what I choose to wear, and that just then that makes you even more confident. I think if you start to feel confident in what you wear and it fits you, thanks person outside, then you start to feel even more confident. It's like I would say a vicious cycle, but it's like the opposite of a vicious cycle. It's good. It's good. My fabric stash has grown a lot in a year, and that is something that I should probably think about with respect to the kind of 1 year sewn. I don't need then get made up immediately because they just jump to the top of the queue. But I do think I need to go back and have a look at some of those fabrics that have been in my stash for a little while and decide not just if like what I want to make with them, but whether I want them anymore. Because I think one thing that's definitely changed in the last year is that I'm better at knowing what fabric I actually like or what fabric I'll wear, because there's a difference between liking a pattern and then wanting to wear it on your body in a garment. And I think I've got a lot better at that in the last year. I think I was already better at it a year ago than I was 6 months before that, and or like 9 months before that when I started sewing. But I think I've got a lot better at it, and I love a novelty print and I love a big bold print, but it has to be the right one, and I'm a little bit more fussy now. I don't just like any novelty print. They have to be a bit different. And I mean, I say that I am literally surrounded by novelty prints right now. Shall I show you some of the novelty prints I've got? Just like around me, because I've got this which arrived from a Facebook destash the other day, which is just absolutely nuts. It's got dinosaurs in red sunglasses on the mountains and the beach, which I really loved. It was just like a little piece. I'm going to do the front of a tee, and I'm going to add like this colour, I think, sleeve and back to it as a fun tee under dungarees. But I wouldn't, like, maybe a year ago I might have wanted to make a whole garment out of that, or I don't know. I think I've got a little bit better at being a bit picky and choosy. I've also got another dinosaur fabric which is really cute. This is a half made up Melilo shirt as well, which this fabric's from Eternal Maker, and this was like, it just needs the collar and the buttons basically and a hem. But yeah, again, it's quirky, but I don't really say it's novelty. I mean, it's got dinosaurs on it. I'm going to show you one more that I've got because it's beautiful. I am going to film a fabric. How serious that lion is with his ridiculous mane. Yeah. This is a French terry, so it's going to become some kind of jumper, I think. But it's pretty epic. Pretty epic. But anyway, enough fabric haul. That hasn't changed. I am addicted to fabric. I need to sort out my fabric stash, and I think my husband would agree. I've shut the door so he can't necessarily hear me upstairs, but I think if he could, he would agree. Because there are things in here that I don't think I'm going to use, so it's time to pass them on and work out what I'm going to use. I tell you what has improved. I'm so much better at buying neutrals now, or buying plains. And I'm better, I think, at planning for a work wardrobe, which was the reason I started sewing in the first place. I talked a little bit about that in, I think, one of the Sew and Tell like Q&A videos. We talked about the reason I wanted to sew was to make myself a nice work wardrobe that still represented my personality a little bit, but was still smart. And I think I've got better at that, actually, in like the last 8 weeks. But still. I think I'm more process driven than I was. I think I was definitely output driven a year ago, and I think to a certain degree I'm output driven now, but I think I enjoy the process a little bit Yes, my orange spaceman top is the definition of how I want my style to be, basically. Like, because it is definitely novelty. Well, it's definitely quirky, but it's not novelty. It's still like sophisticated. Unfortunately, a lot of fabrics that are quirky but not novelty and are sophisticated are also really expensive. So, because they're normally ex-designer ones. But there we go. That's that's fine too. Um, but yeah, I am more process driven now. I enjoy the process a lot better. Laura's probably laughing away at herself now. But I enjoy the process more, and I think I just get excited by wanting to learn all of the processes. It's that like halfway house between being a process driven person and an output driven person. I tell you what hasn't changed is that I'm still super ambitious and I take on far too much, and I get very excited about what I'm doing and what I'm making, what I'm wearing and what I'm learning all of the time because it's just too exciting. And that is great. It's got its downfalls certainly, but it's got me to where I am. Let's put it that way. And I've always got lots of projects on the go at one time. But I do think that, you know, the knowledge and techniques and things that I've learned over the last year are going to set me in good stead for for continuing to build a wardrobe that works for me. And I love the 1 year sewn idea, and I'm really looking forward to revisiting it when my YouTube channel is too. But I just think it's hard if you were a beginner I've made that I should still feel warm and fuzzy when I look at garments that I made a year ago, even if I don't wear them very much anymore. And I just need to try and put that learning into practice so that that doesn't happen as much anymore. So yeah, that was kind of my ramblings for now. I just threw away my paper, but there are questions on the back. Because I asked on Instagram, is there anything you'd like me to talk about on reflecting on a year? And I haven't really talked about a year on YouTube yet, so maybe I'll talk a little bit about that. You guys might be getting bored of me. But I was asked a couple of really good questions. I was asked a little bit about like who inspires me and how did I start to sew. And actually, one good thing to talk about, I saw a comment pop up to say that you're still really proud of some cushion covers that you made. And actually, all of the cushion covers I made that I started making about 2 years ago, because, well, just, yeah, like February time 2018, were a whole bunch of cushion covers to use for our wedding, because we had our wedding party at our house and we needed more than like 2 seats for people to sit on, and I made a whole bunch of cushion covers and they all still get used all of the time. So that's probably a good reflection on some things that do still get used that I made a year ago. Yeah, there you go. So I was asked a bunch of stuff about how I learnt to sew, and I have talked about this in a couple of other vlogs, but very quickly, I kind of always wanted to be able to sew, mostly I think because I had a bit of a quirky style, but I couldn't really find those clothes in my price range, well, full stop, or in my price range, or in my size. So I had always really wanted to, and I'd given it a couple of goes, and I did textiles at school, so I knew how to use a machine and things, but I only really picked up sewing again when I moved jobs. I used to commute to London, and then when I gave up my job in London and moved to a job more locally to me, I dedicated that commute time that I saved to sewing. And that was in June 2018. And look where we are. It's become such a big part of my life. So yeah, it's amazing to think that 2 years ago I didn't have anything handmade in my 20. I think that I've not worn something me made, which is, yeah, like that's crazy. I'm really looking forward to taking part in Me Made May this year, because last year I struggled a little bit because although I had made a lot of things, I'd made a lot of fit and flare dresses which didn't quite fit into my natural like work wardrobe, or yeah, I think I'm going to have a lot of fun with Me Made May this year, and I think that will provide another kind of reflection point looking back on my makes that I wore during Me Made May, and just how kind of much more options and like much like better looking clothes I've got now, like, you know, much more finished. clothing that I've got. So yeah, I was also asked about tips for starting to sew. Now I have a series on, well, a series by a number of vloggers talking about tips for beginners sewists, which I don't think I can link down below, as I would usually say, but you can find it by looking on my channel, because I think that everyone's journey into sewing is different, and I think a different perspective from everyone's is really useful. So go and have a look at that, because you'll get a few different ideas, and some of them are really practical tips for like what machine you should buy and what scissors you should have and what patterns you should try and how you cut fabric. And my one's a bit more rambly, like, go for it, you can do it, I'll cheerlead for you, but a bit more about having the confidence to give it a go and actually get started. So have a look at that, would be my my top tip for a beginner sewist. But I was also asked a couple of like quite intriguing questions. I was asked what my favourite pattern test has been. So I've done a lot of pattern tests. That's definitely something that's changed in the last year, and a sign of how much my confidence has grown in the last year, that I now pattern test new patterns that are coming out reasonably frequently. And I've been thinking about what my favourite pattern test is for ages, because, well, since I got this question, which was like yesterday, but the whole time that I've got it, I've been thinking about it. And it's a really tough one, because I've been really lucky with some of my pattern tests. I mean all of them really. They're all things I wear and you know, have made multiple of. I think there's only one or two. The Sew Altered Style Misty Cami top, which was my first pattern test, because it gave me a lot of confidence. It was also the first pattern that I really felt like I just wanted to make loads of them, and I was so, and I mean I did make loads of them, and I'm going to make more this year. But it was a really, like, I wasn't expecting to be picked to pattern test, and it was so exciting. And yeah, like, it's quite a simple make, but I really enjoyed it, and I really enjoyed learning the process and kind of feeling like I'd taken another step into it, like a different part of the sewing community. So I really loved that, and the fact that I'm now hacking that into another pattern makes me really happy, because that kind of shows again like the changes that have happened over the last year, and how kind of much more happy I am playing around with patterns and making something that works for whatever I want it to, basically. But I've been really lucky. I mean, I don't know what my favourite, like the favourite process, because every pattern company runs pattern tests slightly differently. And I like the pattern tests where you really get involved in community. So the Pattern Emporium pattern tests that I've done, they have a really good community about them, because there's the Facebook groups that they have are really active, full of posts all the time. So you kind of get a lot of inspiration from what other testers are doing, and a lot of information from them. So I do enjoy those pattern tests quite a lot. I've obviously loved the Hug hoodie, which I've made loads of. But yeah, I don't know. I'm going to have to ponder that a little bit more, I think. And I was also asked what has surprised me, or what have I done that I didn't think I would have done when I started my YouTube channel. And I mean, starting my YouTube channel was a surprise. So continuing it has been a pretty good surprise. I'm not really sure. I think taking part in some of the sewing vlogger tours and kind of that part of the community has been really fun, and yeah, I loved taking part in Vlogmas, for example, which was awesome, and I'd love to try and do again this year. Yeah, I think everything that has happened has all been a bit mad in the last year. I wasn't expecting to sit here on a live chatting to people. I wasn't expecting to hit as many subscribers as I've hit. Been like getting to know way more people in the community, and I know that sounds like such a cheesy, like tacky thing to say, but I it's true. And like hearing from you guys that you've been inspired to make something because of a make that I've shown, or you have been inspired to try a new technique that you haven't tried before, that surprises me and makes me smile all the time, because I don't really know what led me to set up a YouTube channel, but I certainly wasn't expecting to be inspirational. I was certainly expecting to be a bit clumsy and muddle my way through, which I do. but yeah, it's been really lovely, and I love hearing it when you guys have made something, and like tell me about it. So I've like I think that's been the best part of being kind of on YouTube. I was just gonna say on the YouTube, like I was 80 on the YouTube. But yeah, and I think, I mean, what surprised me, I've sat in homemade bra. I mean, I'm sat in a homemade bra now, but like I've stood and taken photos and posed in bras and knickers that I've made and put myself out on the internet. And I think that that's probably the biggest surprise for all of us when you consider that 2-3 years ago I hated the way I looked and wouldn't have ever considered doing that. So I think that the confidence that YouTube and sewing and the online sewing community in all of its forms have given me is like, it's mad. And I think that being on YouTube has probably sped up, accelerated, one might say, my confidence and my growth in sewing. I think like I'm always being encouraged to try new things and talk to you about them, whether they've gone well or not, because it's good fun. And yeah, I think that's probably it. That's not a very good answer to that question, really, is it? I'm trying. I would love to know if you guys have more questions on kind of my reflections on a year. It's been a massive surprise to me that I have been able to put, when I first started, I wasn't putting a video up every week. I've pretty much put a video up every week. I've got lots of fun ideas coming up for new videos and new series. I've actually had a really good chat with Lynn, who I saw had just popped on, so hi Lynn, about a little series of vlogs talking about like the history of different garments and the history of different techniques. Doesn't necessarily need to be sewing specific, but kind of linked with some of the things I'm making. So I'm doing a little bit of geeky research at the minute about dungarees and overalls and their kind of history, and I'm also doing a little bit of research about dyeing fabric and kind of the stages and progression that's gone through. So I'm quite excited by that. I'm thinking about calling it social history, because it is going to be a bit social history and a bit of sewing and a bit of fashion and a bit of garment, but you heard it here first and you might never hear it again. So we'll see. But yeah, I've been rabbiting on for 44 minutes and 44 seconds according to YouTube, and I think I'm gonna call it a day there before I descend into nonsense. But it's been really fun chatting to you guys, and I hope that you enjoyed my second live, and that yeah, I might plan to do another one soon. I might, like I said, I might do one on Monday, because I'm off work on Monday, and yeah, I might take you through my wardrobe of my older me mates. But thank you so much for watching, guys, and I'm looking forward to the next year of sewing and the next year of YouTube.